I've never seen anything like it before, and to attempt to hit the ball out of there is pure madness.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
This is the one that I've always wanted to win since I was a little kid. So it just feels pretty amazing to be able to get it done today.
It's amazing that it's my destiny to be the first Aussie to win. Just incredible.
Hello and welcome to episode 39 of Playing from the Tips, your weekly preview and tipping podcast covering tournament golf around the world, presented by Golf Australia magazine. Jimmy Emanuel here, leading the rabble we call our so-called experts on a journey that will see us touch base in Victoria and New South Wales here at home in Australia, South Africa, America, Hong Kong and Bermuda. Let's meet our so-called experts, and given we have an alternate format this week, our first tipster is just like the Vic Open. New, innovative and ahead of its time before becoming mainstream. Yes, I could be talking about Rod Morri and golf podcasting, or David Greenhill's tournament. Rod, welcome.
David Greenhill, much more creative than me with his. All I did was take advantage of something that existed. He came up with a genuinely new idea, which has really changed golf. And good on him.
That tickled you, though, didn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah. Next, much like this week's Super 6 format in Victoria's Gippsland region, this so-called expert appears much the same as other events/people before late in the game there's a sudden shift and excitement. Ooh. I welcome Adrian Logue.
Thank you, Jimmy Emanuel.
Haven't you just described lizard people? Are you a lizard person?
Is you could be a lizard person.
Yeah.
Shapeshifter?
I can't really do the open your mouth and eat a whole rat at once thing that lizard people can do, but
not in public at least.
No.
With all of that silliness out of the way, let's take a quick reflection on last week where we had another 3 top 10s, notably Logue and Harrison Crowe, combining for a tie for second.
Point of order.
Moral victory, you claim?
Harrison Crowe was beaten by an amateur, some Phoenix guy I've never heard of before. Does that even count?
Don't put shame on Phoenix Campbell's name.
Whatever his name is. He's an amateur. It's like come out of nowhere.
Well,
Does this even count? Like, surely this is a win for me.
If that's a point of order, he was in a 7-way tie for second. So that doesn't count as a win.
Pretty simple. Who had the least number of shots, Jimmy?
Yeah, Phoenix Campbell.
Who's the low
Who got the trophy? Phoenix Campbell.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And that takes us to 186 top 10s for the year alongside 28 wins. And can I say that we also had another 11th place, which I wish I started counting at the beginning of the year. Because I reckon we've got more than we've got top 10s. It's
if you go with that
remarkable.
theory, you're going to end up extending to pretty much anyone who made the cut
100%.
and claiming all of them.
100%. That's when you're trying to boost up something about players and you go out to top 25. To make it sound better. Major takeaways from last week's action from everyone. Obviously, Logue was not that impressed by Phoenix Campbell winning the Queensland PGA, but Monet Inami, Eric Van Rooyen, it was a pretty good week of winners, I would have thought.
Yeah, the Van Rooyen one was pretty special, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty special.
When your best mate's dying and you get the text during the week and then you go out and win it the way you did with that spectacular. Even if it hadn't been for that, the finish was spectacular.
Birdie, eagle.
Birdie, eagle. So, yeah, you can't. Hard to go past that.
It's interesting what inspires
absolutely
performance sometimes.
Ben Crenshaw at the Masters, 95.
Yeah.
And it avoided golf Twitter and golf media going into meltdown if Matt Kuchar had won again in Mexico. I think the storylines had been written.
It would have been lovely to see Camilo get it done.
Yes.
Because of he's been
his own
ringer
things, yep.
Yeah, and good player, nice guy.
Seems like a very
everyone loves Camilo.
Everybody loves Camilo. It would have been nice to see him get it done. But anyway, that's golf, isn't it?
He went with the veterans move, signing autographs, because he was very popular in Mexico. So there was a line of people to sign autographs. So Camilo had them bring out a chair, and he just sat there and just received people as he signed autographs. Yeah,
good flex.
Wouldn't have been Camilo. Full Camilo. It's just the right amount of Camilo.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. All right, on to this week. And as we do when we can, we start at home, and the Challenger PGA Tour of Australasia is back in action this week with the Gippsland Super 6. As alluded to earlier, this is an alternate format where we start with 120 players.
Slow down. Whoa.
3 rounds of stroke play.
Okay.
We then cut to the top 24 players from that stroke play. They play 6-hole medal match play to determine a champion. So medal match play goes all the way to the 6 holes. It's a stroke match.
Okay.
And if there's ties, because it's medal match play, there is a knockout hole. So, simple enough.
It actually is when you see it, but it sounds incredibly complicated.
Can I tell
listen to
you,
it, but
I'm quite excited not to be the man on deck down there covering it, because that's mayhem.
So on day 4, they're down to 24
Down to
points.
24, and it's just matches.
Just matches.
Okay.
Just matches.
And that's the whole point of it, is to get to that last day and have that quick turnover.
absolutely.
Lots of things to, frankly, bet on.
And
was
there's no
the idea of
2-day
it.
cut.
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
No. And they play this at Warragul Country Club. Tom Power-Horan won for the second time in 2022 in just the 4th staging. He won the first time when they had to abandon the medal match play because of weather. But he is not there this week. Warragul is a pretty classic regional golf course in Australia. Tree-lined, sparingly bunkered. Conditioning is a highlight. Everyone talks about the conditioning down at Warragul. So Warragul, Gippsland is in the east of Victoria, about an hour and a half drive out there. Good little belt of golf courses through there. Brendan James talks about that area highly. I'm sure there's good pies.
If anybody
on the
knows, I reckon BJ's area golf course knowledge would be up there with just about anybody in Australia.
Yeah.
Well, just any golf course knowledge throughout the whole of Australia. BJ's probably
Well,
got
that
it.
area-
But he likes the finer cuts, doesn't he? The rarer cuts.
Yeah, that
Yes.
area is a big Mick
that's-
Morecambe area of designed golf courses. So
Yeah. There's something in that, the area, breaking it up by areas. We're going to talk to BJ about that. There's a story in there.
in terms of field, as I said, Power-Horan won't be going for a three-peat as he is in Hong Kong, but there are plenty of quality players to keep an eye on, including winners from this season, Lachlan Barker, Austin Batista and Ben Eccles, as well as hometown boy and Asia-Pacific amateur winner Jasper Stubbs is back in on playing tour golf, having played the New Zealand Amateur last week and actually made it through to, I think, the quarterfinals after winning at Royal Melbourne. He comes from out that way originally. You've got some of the usual suspects like your Jake McLeods, Jared Felton, Nathan Barbieri and so on. But if you're getting down or watching on TV as the Challenger PGA Tour of Australasia is on every week, look at some of the young guys this week. Jai Picken has stayed an amateur after Royal Melbourne, but I'm very, very impressed by Jai Picken. Max Charles was on that team at the Asia Pacific Amateur, has turned pro and serious ball striker. Played college golf and didn't think he was maybe good enough to turn pro.
I like that attitude.
I like that.
That's a guy
really
who'll
good.
keep on improving and working.
So there's a whole list of younger, older. It's a really interesting field. It's not necessarily everyone that's come from Queensland because there's a few taking a break because it gets pretty busy, but it's a good field nonetheless. So let's get some picks. Logue, you look like you're burning away to tear some player apart and tip someone else?
No, I'm going with a veteran. Well, I guess you could classify him as a veteran these days, and I have some mail on him as well that he's in a bit of form. Is Michael Hendry,
Yep.
New Zealand's one of New Zealand's finest.
Inspiring story.
Inspiring
Back after leukemia and playing last week, and fantastic guy, Michael Hendry as well. Rod?
I was going to go Jake McLeod. The problem with this format is it won't suit all the players. There will be players who flat out do not like it because it's not what they're used to. It's not 72 holes a stroke. How do you know who they are? I don't know. But in the end, I decided I like your man, Lockie Barker.
Yeah.
Explosive sort of game. That medal match play over 6 holes, you just got to try and make as many birdies as you can. It's not like a match play match where pars are often going to keep you in it or win your hole. He's capable of that. Of course, when you do that, you can make doubles as well, but Lockie Barker. Aggression's going to be the key that you want to aggressive.
Aggression is the key. Michael Hendry doesn't really bring a lot of aggression, to be honest.
No, but
Ryan Fox did well in this.
Yes. Yeah.
Did he?
He won
made
one
the
in
final?
Perth.
Oh, he won it, did he?
in Perth,
I knew he
the
made
older
final.
version, yeah.
The year of the great putter theft.
Indeed. Yeah. I'm going to go with Jordan Zunic. He's almost won here before. He's showing some form. I think he was 11th last week in Nudgee. There's a lot to like about Jordan's game at the moment.
This might be the format for him too.
Yeah. I think he was beaten in the final a couple of years ago by someone. So
Coming to an age as well, I think, where a lot of things that have been difficult for him, with trying to deal with all that life on the road, all that will have settled, and I think he's in a better place away from the course, and that's going to help his game. He's such a good player, incredibly talented.
the biggest golf shoots I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, well,
Yep. We're going to make mention, we're not going to go into full depth as well. There is another tournament in Australia this week, and we wouldn't do it service given we don't cover this tour, I don't think, all the time. The Nova Employment Australian Senior PGA Championship is at Richmond this week, so on the PGA Legends Tour of Australasia. Great event. So basically the Seniors PGA, you've got some of your big names of the past, probably unfairly you call them, like guys like Andre Stoltz, Peter Fowler, David McKenzie, Peter O'Malley, Stephen Allen, Peter Lonard, John Sendon.
Little Stevie Allen.
Little Stevie Allen, the babyface assassin.
Babyface assassin.
I'll be out there all week, and I'll be back on the television this weekend with Warren Smith and Paul Gow calling that event.
Oh,
too.
nice. Are you going to be on site?
I am going to be on site, yeah.
Yeah, this is
Former, a friend of mine is a former winner there, Guy Wall.
Guy Wall, yeah, absolutely. Guy Wall. I should mention Guy Wall. He's one of the stars.
Mark's
of
the
that
Richmond
tour.
Golf Club too. I think they started hosting this about 5 years ago. They
They
get
did.
a course every year for it. They've done a really good job of becoming kind of the home of this tournament. This, I'm pretty sure, was I looked at the leaderboard a couple of years ago, and it was Peter.
Peter, yeah.
Fowler, O'Malley, Lonard, just line them up. There were just Peters all over the
Yep.
top of the leaderboard. So, but go out and watch it. They're great
Genuinely,
to watch.
yeah,
These guys
100%.
don't take it as seriously as the younger guys. They've got a much better attitude about it. They're much more relaxed. You'll generally find them in the clubhouse after having something to eat. Terrific event.
I might even do that. I'll go out on Saturday.
Fantastic event, and they are fantastic guys, and everyone remembers these guys, so get out there, and they still find that competitive edge come Sunday afternoon.
They can play.
You watch them switch a little bit on that back nine.
They can play.
Keeping in mind, we do our tournaments in no particular order of importance because we don't want to think less of anything. We just go with what we feel. Let's go to the Asian Tour and the return of the Hong Kong Open and our resident Hong Kong expert, Adrian Logue.
Hardly, but that's me. Okay, so the Hong Kong Open, or the Open de Hong Kong, as the French like to call it.
Can you ever give that up? You're right around that week where you either stop now or it's it. That's it. You're in for the rep forever.
I'm not sick of it yet. So anyway, this is a long-running tournament, first held in 1959. Another one of those events where Peter Thompson was fairly instrumental in bringing the world's attention to it, and three-time winner of the event as well. Can be somewhat credited with.
Oh, it's no Open. 3 times.
No. He did what he needed to do.
Yeah, that's right.
It's at the Hong Kong Golf Club, a 115-year-old course, one of the oldest clubs in the world. It's moved around a little bit. At first was at Happy Valley, the race course is now. Then it was at an island, and then it moved to its current location in Fanling. It's a lovely place. I've actually been there, as you alluded to, Jimmy. Also, a colleague of mine is a member there currently and speaks very highly of it, although it is a little bit under threat. I think in a few years' time the lease runs out or something, and it's I think definitely going to be taken back and something redeveloped or something, or at least part of it is. It's also one of the favourite courses of friend of the pod, Matt Burns.
It is indeed, yes.
The purveyor of fine garments at Angus and Grace Go Golfing, which has nothing to do with this podcast, but would be known to some of the listeners.
Invoice incoming.
I can tell you from on the ground report that it's a bit of a jungle.
Yes.
Like it's very tropical, but it's actually quite wide, big corridors, but big sort of shady trees and hot and steamy. It's got that very wide bladed grass that's typical of a lot of courses in the region, but unlike a lot of courses that we see in Asia and Asian tour events, this is a real old school golf club. It's well maintained, but it's not that sort of uniform, hyper green, new, sort of freshly laid turf sort of look. It's all old and bit mixed sort of turf, and it's nothing's uniform, and there aren't pure white sand bunkers.
Does it sit comfortably in its landscape?
It actually kind of does.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
That's the key, I think. If you look at it and go,
It
belongs here.
It's a course that's properly been lived in for decades.
Like your face.
So this is another one of the International Series events. In fact, it's the penultimate International Series
Been
event.
waiting all season for that one.
And
Sorry.
and on Melbourne Cup Day, appropriately, players are jockeying for position to get into the top 40 of the Order of Merit in the International Series to qualify for the Abu Dhabi Live adjacent event. I don't know still not quite sure how to classify that Abu Dhabi event, but it gives that event gives up 3 places, importantly, for the Live Tour in 2024. So that's what's at stake here. The field includes some existing Live players, Patrick Reed, who I actually met when he was playing the Hong Kong Open when I was there in 2016.
Birds of a feather.
It was before all the controversy, and I was quite excited to meet him. And I'd said something stupid to him in the car park, like, "Oh, how are you playing?" or something. I don't know. He just shrugged and
Did he know you were playing a match?
gave me a. That's a deep cut for listeners.
One up low.
Anyway, that's the year that Australia's Sam Brazel won. Sam Brazel's in the field again. Yep. Other live players include Graham McDowell, Harold Varner III is playing, Thomas Peters, and Harold HV3's teammate in live, Taylor Gooch, is playing as well. And, well, but maybe it's the other way around. Taylor Gooch's teammate, HV3, is playing there. Taylor Gooch being the live champion, I think, was it?
Individual champion.
Who knows?
Yes.
I don't know. It's very confusing. But probably the marquee player, and in fact, the marquee player of the week is Australia's own Cam Smith, who's playing, who knows what sort of form he's in?
No.
Probably not good form. We'll see. But, it'll be a good tournament for him to blow the cobwebs out and play a bit of 4-round golf in preparation for the Australian season. 2-time Open to Hong Kong winner Wade Ormsby is also playing. So more Australian interest there, and Wade Ormsby is also defending champion. Another 2-time winner of the Hong Kong Open, Jimmy?
Scott Hand?
Another 2-time winner of the...
Oh, no, Scott Hand only won one.
He won one. I actually saw Scott Hen playing in 2016 as well when I was there.
I don't know.
Greg Norman.
Okay.
So
there you go.
There you go.
There's plenty of Aussies in the field, as you'd expect. I'm not going to mention them all. I will mention Harrison Crowe for the second time in this podcast. He's in the field, so he got across there. That's right, every opportunity. But my pick is going to be Patrick Reed.
Nice.
Just because I've got that personal connection.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because you and him are mates.
Yeah.
That's right.
Rod?
This is another one of those. It's almost a 2-tier tournament here. You look at those live players, and they're just so well credentialed. But again, you just never know how that translates over to this. I have no idea. I was tempted by Andy Ogletree again, but I think he knows he's done enough, and there's not the motivation really.
Well, he kind of locks it up this week.
Yeah,
he could have done it last week.
Top 10 will get it done.
Yeah, last
easily.
week he could have done it, but he sort of fell back. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Thomas Peters. I mean, there's a class of player in this field that is clearly above the rest, and they stand out. Smith, Reed, Peters, Gooch, they're a class above the rest. You'd expect the winner should come from one of those, which means it probably won't.
Hong Kong Open, the last of the COVID-affected events to come back, really. But it's like most recent what affected wasn't COVID. There was other dramas in Hong Kong.
That's right, yeah.
Can we just...
It's come back. It was a European Tour event last time it was played as well, wasn't it? It should be mentioned.
Yeah.
It's interesting how these Asian Tour events get thrown around a little bit like that.
Well, not at the moment. Liv kind of put paid to that.
Well, same with the Open to China last week as well
thing,
was tossed around a bit.
Great winners list here. Miguel Angel Jimenez won it 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable. And Rory McIlroy. Like, Colin Montgomery.
All the greats.
Yeah.
Did any of them hit that just slightly thin 6-iron into the last like Sam Brazel did? To about 3 feet.
Rory,
Tony Carolan, twice winner, because he won on hand and Sam Brazel's bag.
Didn't Rory hit a famous shot out of the fairway bunker on the 18?
Yes,
there
because that's the one down the hill.
Dog leg left. And
enough time on the Hong Kong Open. I'm going to go with Harrison Crowe.
Good on you.
Just why not? Let's go to South Africa and the DP World Tour. Rod Murray, tell us about the Nedbank Golf Challenge. And speaking of Logue's mate Reed, your mate Gary Player.
Yeah. Don't know where that came from. There you go. Talk about tournaments with history. This one, I think most people remember as the $1 Million Challenge. It was the first $1 Million winners check. It was a publicity stunt, basically, to advertise this golf course. The course opened in 79. The first tournament was in 81. And it's worked.
Absolutely.
Been on the schedules ever since. Everybody sort of knows the course. I was thinking about this. The first one in 81 had 5 players in the field. Seve, Johnny Miller, Nicholas, Gary Player and Lee Trevino. Now, it went 9 holes before Miller finally beat Seve in a playoff.
Wow.
What would be the equivalent today? Think about those 5 players teeing, and did they do it as a 2-ball and a 3-ball? Did they play as a 5? But who would be the equivalent? I don't think
there is an equivalent.
I don't think you've got the star power in the modern game, which is not to say they're not great players and all, but I don't think you've got the star power that group has. It's an incredibly charismatic group of players. And 9 holes of a playoff with Seve and Miller, that would have been amazing to watch. It's a Gary Player design. Obviously, they had tournament golf in mind when they designed it. It's long, it's difficult. The back tees on this course, everybody who goes there says the back tees, you can't believe where they are. Nobody plays off the back tees except for the tournament each year, and that's what it's all about. Water, bunkers, nothing stunning architecturally, but it's a difficult test for pros, and that'll make a good spectacle on TV. Now, the first $1 million prize was 87, and it was winner takes all. So the tournament had 8 players. There was a prize each day for the best round, but the purse went to the winner. Ian Woosnam took the whole $1 million. The rest of them got nothing. If you didn't win one of the rounds of the day.
I'd suggest they didn't get
Well,
nothing.
yes, obviously. But, yeah, so interesting idea. Only lasted 1 year. It's now a fuller field event, 72 players. It's been on the European Tour for a while.
And they're still playing for $1 million?
I think the first prize is still $1 million. It was $2 million for a while. I think it went down again. Sponsor watch, Nedbank. This will come as a real shock. It's a financial services group in South Africa offering wholesale and retail banking services as well as insurance, asset management and wealth management. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of the Nedbank Group.
Good on them.
There you go.
Clue was kind of in the title, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's really nothing that interesting about it. Players in the field. Max Homer, Justin Thomas, Francesco Molinari, Justin Rose and Brandon Grace all got invites. So they're your kind of big name players. And then it's a pretty decent European field. And all the guys have been playing well. It's the top 64 off the race advice. So they're the guys who are playing well and playing well all year. So it will be a good and interesting event to watch.
Can I tell you quickly, it's the penultimate event of the year?
Is it the penultimate event?
Is it?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Been waiting all
More
season
on
to
that
say
later.
Yeah. Adrian Merrill, Victor Perez, Robert McIntyre. I'm going to tip, however, Ryan Fox. He was second here last year, and he's having a good year. He and Meronk seem to be the two European Tour players who really found confidence. They've always had the game. They've really found their confidence. So Ryan Fox for me.
Low?
I like – well, yeah, I was thinking about Max Homer, but then I realised he went on safari with
He and Thomas have
Justin
been on
Thomas.
safari. Yeah, I don't know if their heads are in the game.
It's turned me right off, that whole deal. So
Actually hunting and shooting?
No.
Looking at stuff.
Just looking at stuff, but acting like buffoons. So I'm going with Torbjorn Olesen, who, speaking of buffoon, acting like a buffoon.
That's right. Anyway, okay. I am going to go with Adrian Meronk, who I think you're exactly right is becoming another level of player than he was. Ball striking machine. It's just, he's going to be.
He's found that other level, hasn't he, of where he now believes he's got the game.
Watch out for Brandon Grace here, though.
Yeah.
Loves this golf course and would love nothing more than to win a DP World Tour event as a live golfer.
Again, Liv just kind of won the first event that Liv played and just, I don't know, seems unsighted ever since to me. Was I just not taking notice? Or
He's one of those guys.
He always seems like Louis Westhuizen light.
Yeah.
Like he's the off-brand Louis Westhuizen. Store-bought.
Store-bought.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brandon Grace.
Store-bought Louis Westhuizen. That's outstanding.
All right. I can't handle that. On to the PGA Tour. And
you gave a tip.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, where Seamus Power won in 2022, but isn't back to defend. So two people with the surname Power or something not defending titles this week.
There you go.
Another
coincidence?
There you go.
That's the question.
Not. Power family reunion somewhere, I think. More interest here than is usual, with this being the penultimate event of the fall series, where the top 125 are decided for next year.
Okay.
So
important stuff.
a category basically for how you get into things next year.
Can I just stop you there? Are you going to tell us about Butterfield or not?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go. Continue.
Hold your
Continue.
There's more names than usual here. Included in those names, Adam Scott trying to improve his number into what's called the next 10. So these are the guys who are just outside the Tour Championship, who will more than likely get all the signature events and all that sort of stuff. Lucas Glover, Luke List, Akshay Bhatia, and the only other Aussie winner here, Lucas Herbert, all in the field as well. Other Australians include Greg Chalmers, Harrison Endicott, and Cameron Percy, who I think led after day one last week in Mexico.
First round.
Good old Cam. Also of note in the field, 15-year-old local qualifier Oliver Betschart, who earned a spot via 54-hole local qualifier. They don't let the locals in on an 18-hole qualifier, 54-hole.
Wow.
He was one of 3 Bermudians to qualify via that event and is the youngest winner of the Port Royal Golf Club Championship. Of course, Port Royal is the host venue. We used to be the venue of the Grand Slam of golf where all the major champions used to play. Short by tour standards, but there's elevation and seaside winds that wreak havoc. Designed by Robert Trent Jones Sr., it's actually a public golf course. And par 316 on the edge of a cliff will get plenty of attention this week. Sponsor watch, the Butterfield Group, from their website, is a leading independent offshore bank and trust company.
Okay, whatever. That's disappointing.
Bermuda.
A lot of no wonder the non-golfers are skeptical about it. It's a lot of finance people, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got excited when I looked up Butterfield and I found a bunch of actors with the surname Butterfield, and I think it was a truck company in Australia called the Butterfield Group. Okay. So, not quite the same. Let's get some tips on Bermuda and the Butterfield Group. Logue, who do you like?
Oh, this is a very interesting field. I like Kevin Chappell's in the field as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not going with him, but Kevin Chappell.
Is he the light version of anyone?
What's happened to
Storeboard who?
No, he's
Storeboard Pat
he's
Kizire.
uniquely Kevin. Kevin Chappell is very Kevin Chappell.
He's bespoke.
Yeah, that's right. But he was big like 4 or
won a
5
couple
years
of
ago.
times,
He
yeah.
nearly stole a couple of majors.
He did.
Remember?
Yeah. He
The
was,
PGA, the Jimmy Walker one, if I'm...
he was in contention in Francesco Molinari's Open
Yeah.
as well. It was in the right up there at the end. But anyway, I'm going with that Dietrich fella. I think he's Thomas Dietrich.
Belgian.
Rod?
Ben Griffin. Why not? Should have won it last year. Had a run of bogeys on the back nine, playing decently. I think he's had 2 good finishes here, so likes the course, and will be about time.
Nice. In the interest of changing and having something different, given I had Thomas Dietrich, given he finished second here last year and been playing well, but now that Logue's millstoned his neck and he'll sink in the ocean off the side of the Bermuda.
Fortunately, you would find it difficult to make that case in court.
Yeah, but
Logue's record this year.
That doesn't matter. I'm the host here.
Statistically, he's bound to lose soon.
I'm going to switch to Lucas Herbert, who I'm impressed with the fact that he's obviously trying to get his number up, but is probably gone past this level of event and is going back. He won 2 years ago and he came back and defended. So good on you, Lucas. And he played okay last week.
Yeah.
Someone picked him last week, didn't they?
Yeah. I thought the course would suit him last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sam Bennett's playing as well.
Yeah.
I genuinely hope he's gotten rid of that goatee.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get the real big stuff.
That's holding him back
from the tips.
That's holding him back. Okay. Finally, let's go to the US. Can you believe that? We've done all those events and we haven't been to America yet.
That's amazing, isn't it?
That's amazing.
It is quite amazing.
And the Annika...
Tell the PGA Tour.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Annika driven by Gainbridge at Pelican with Rod Murray. Just for listeners, with Rod Murray is not part of the tournament title.
I am not sponsoring the brought to you by Gainbridge. Yeah, it's named after, you guessed it, Annika Sorenstam. If you're a golf fan during the mid to late 90s and you were Australian, Annika was your nemesis because she was Kari's nemesis.
Yep.
And the two of them wasn't a spectacular rivalry, but it was a good rivalry. They've never been particularly warm towards each other. They're very different people. They're probably the last
Very
really
different people.
Yeah, very different people. The last really not good old-fashioned rivalry at the top of the game, I reckon, probably. And you don't get it so much on the LPGA. But,
No.
remember Annika beating Kari in a playoff here at the Masters up at Royal Pines one year, and it was just deflating. An Australian fan is like, no, how could this happen? Anyway, great player. We forget what a great player Annika was. She achieved some extraordinary things, including shooting 59. It's still the only woman. And I think she still leads the career money list. Has it since 2008?
She might have been knocked out.
It would only be recent, and she's been at the top of the tree for a very long time.
New member of Augusta National.
Yeah, that's exactly right. New member of Augusta National. And anyway, let's leave some of that stuff aside. So fittingly, the purse in the field here is, as you'd imagine, really good. This is the first year that they've had Annika's name on it. She had a Ladies European Tour event previously in Europe, but this was always going to happen. You would have thought Annika would get a name on a tournament. So good field. You got 9 of the world's top 10.
Great
of the
field,
top
actually.
25.
It's a really great field.
That is a really great field. The missing player from – I did find who it was, and now I can't find it. Can't remember who the top 10 player. It might be Hyoju Kim isn't playing. Either way, so yes, 17 in the top 25, so you're going to get a good – this is the fourth year of the tournament, first with Annika. Nelly Korda won the second and third. Se-Young Kim won the first one in 2019. So Nelly Korda obviously there. Sponsor watch, Gainbridge. You're not going to believe this.
Bank. Financial services.
Self-managed, innovative digital platform providing direct access to trusted annuity products guaranteed to grow your savings over time. All of those words are words, but putting them together in that order makes no sense to me. I think they're in finance.
Can I tell you that the top player that's not there is Minjee?
Thank you, Minjee. Well done. I knew I'd looked it up, and then for some reason I didn't write it down.
Yep.
What's really interesting about this is the course. So this was a Donald Ross course. It used to be called the Bellevue Biltmore or the Biltmore Bellevue. I can't remember which way around. And then in 1925 it opened. And then it was bought by the town that it's in 2013. Then the town sold it to a local family in 2018 who had Bo Welling, who's Tiger Woods' design guy, redo the course. Took out 400-odd trees. It looks really interesting. How much of Donald Ross is left, I don't know. Bo Welling I've heard him on Derek Duncan's podcast. He's a really good, interesting guy, knows his stuff. So I'm going to be watching this week to have a look at the course because it's grabbed my interest knowing that.
Good field, good course.
Good field, good
It'll
course.
be very flat, I imagine. A lot of Florida. It's very flat.
Yeah.
But sandy sort of.
It's really open and lots of short grass around the greens. The interesting thing that I always think about that is it's Bermuda grass, and that just makes the short game such a tricky proposition. For even the very best players even struggle with that grabby sort of Bermuda that you get. So look, it'll be...
There's actually just up the road from here as well. I think there's that Bel Air private club, which is quite good. Not Bel Air in LA, obviously.
No, the Bel Air.
Pelican is in Bel Air.
It's different. Bel Air.
Pelican Golf Club is called now. Sorry,
it's also a Donald Ross, I think, when it was redone by Fry Striker or something recently.
I've
And
been
looks
doing
quite
some
good.
work on it recently. So look, at that area has a lot of Donald Ross courses, Florida, because golf was obviously booming at the time when he was doing design work, and where you go. Gabby Ruffles gets an invite. Tip of the hat to the year that she's had.
Yep.
Hard to go past Nelly Corder, 2 wins. This sort of golf really seems to suit her. It's wide open, lots of short grass around the greens, but she's really kind of struggled this year. Really. She hasn't had a win, so she'd be keen for one. But if you'd said last year she wouldn't win a tournament this year, you'd have been slapped down.
At this point, I'm not sure why we keep talking about her as like number one in the world or probably number one in the world. Oh, no, she's not literally not number one in the world, but
she's just so good. When you watch her play, you don't understand how she's not winning. Yeah. She looks as good as she ever has in terms of the swing, and the way she plays just hasn't sort of happened for this year. So look, she'll be motivated in that way. I'm going to go with, it's hard to pick a winner because of the quality of this field, and this is going out on a bit of a limb, but I'm going to go with Gabby Ruffles. She is going to win something soon, and wouldn't surprise me if it was something big.
A big statement in a field like this as well.
It really would be. Lydia coded at the age of 15.
Selecting Ashley Buhai. It's a sort of, I think, she's kind of a muscular player. I think she's going to overpower this course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Best rhythmic golf swing in the world, perhaps, Ashley Buhai.
Yeah.
Top five
Top
in the
five.
Conversation.
Yeah.
Beautiful to watch. What just a beautiful tempo.
Has not ever won as much as you would expect for how good of an amateur she was.
When she was 14 and winning the South African Women's Open, and she was a gun player.
Yeah. Defending Australian Open champ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, but not one as much, but also won
Quite in a bit of a patch late. She won a lot of latest European Tour events, I should say that. But I was already getting ready to shock the world and tip Gabby Ruffles.
Oh, well,
and I'm not changing now.
No, don't.
No.
Really?
And we'll count that as 2 wins if she gets up.
Yeah, we'll take our combined total past Logue with that. Because that's going out on a limb rather than tipping favourites.
One of those scramble events where 3 hacks take on a pro and still get dusted up.
That will do us for this week. Rod, it's off to school for you now, so you can tell your teacher you did very well today, little Roddy.
I actually didn't do my homework.
Oh, no, he's in trouble.
I'm in trouble. I'll need a note, Jimmy, if you wouldn't mind.
No problem. Logue, it's, I believe, bon voyage for you from playing from the tips for a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks, yeah.
Yep. I don't think the tipping ecosystem will survive with that.
From time to time I do this. I just let you have a shot at me for a couple of weeks, and I still
he's worked out the schedule that works for him, Jimmy.
Yeah,
it's individual to every player. Some are best to play 3 weeks on, 1 week off. Some are best to play every week in 6 and 7 week stretches. He's found his schedule.
Speaking of having a shot at you, our guest to replace you next week will no doubt have a shot at you when the great Mark Hayes enters the fray.
That's how he gets a start.
Yes.
Will you take a shot at Adrian Logue? Yes, you're in.
Yeah.
He'll definitely take a shot at my friend Patrick Reed.
So I'm going to be happy about that.
You can keep up to date with all these events and more on the Golf Australia magazine website, golfaustralia.com.au, and we will be back next week. Thank you for listening to episode 39 of Playing from the Tips.